त्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीं विरच्यते. Okay. Any doubts or questions from previous classes? Okay. So let us continue. गतकक्षायां सिद्धान्त अष्टाध्याय्याः प्रथमपादे यानि सूत्राणि अस्माभिः कौमुद्याम् अधीतानि तेषां पुनरावर्तनं कृतम्. अधुना द्वितीयपादे पश्यामः. अष्टाध्याय्याः द्वितीयपादः अतिदेशसूत्रैः आरभ्यते. There are a lot of Atidesha sutras between kit, ngit, etc. So he does Anubandha Atidesha. This is some particles behave like ngit, some behave like kit, etc. ततः अत्सम्बन्धि सूत्राणि यथा उकालोज् ह्रस्वदीर्घप्लुतः. ह्रस्व दीर्घप्लुत संज्ञासूत्रम्. ह्रस्वसंज्ञा दीर्घसंज्ञा प्लुतसंज्ञा च विधीयते. ऊकालः अच ह्रस्व दीर्घप्लुत. अचः ह्रस्वः दीर्घः प्लुतः इति नाममात्रं वर्तते. कीदृशस्य अचः? ऊकालस्य. ऊकालः नाम उश्च ऊश्च ऊश्चवः. ह्रस्व उकारस्य दीर्घ उकारस्य प्लुत उकारस्य समाहारेण ऊ इति जायते. वाम कालः इव कालः यस्य सः अच क्रमात् ह्रस्वदीर्घप्लुतसंज्ञः स्यात्. यस्य अचः उच्चारणकालः उ इति उच्चारणकालसदृशः सः ह्रस्वः इति कथ्यते. यस्य उच्चारणकालः उ इति उच्चारणकालसदृशः तस्य दीर्घः इति. यस्य च उच्चारणकालः उ इति उच्चारणकालसदृशः तस्य च प्लुत इति नाम. तदेव उच्यते एकमात्रो भवेत् ह्रस्वः, द्विमात्रो दीर्घ उच्यते, त्रिमात्रस्तु प्लुतो ज्ञेयः इत्यादिना ह्रस्वः दीर्घः प्लुतः इति संज्ञा विधीयते. संज्ञायां कृतायाम् उदाहरणम्. एतासां संज्ञानाम् उपयोगः क्व इति चेत् ह्रस्वस्य पिति कृति तुक् चेत् ह्रस्व इति संज्ञा विहिता. ह्रस्वस्य स्वरस्य तुगागमः भवति. अकः सवर्णे दीर्घः आदेशः भवति. वाक्यस्य टेः प्लुतः उदात्तः प्लुतो भवति इत्यादिरीत्या संज्ञानाम् उपयोगोऽपि दृश्यते. ततः अचश्च इति परिभाषा. कः अर्थः परिभाषायाः? कौमुद्यां तु इको गुणवृद्धि अचश्च. अर्थात् अत्र उकालोज् ह्रस्वदीर्घप्लुतः इत्युक्त्वा यत्र ह्रस्वः दीर्घः प्लुतो वा विधीयते सः अचः स्थाने भवति. अर्थात् ह्रस्वदीर्घप्लुतशब्दैः यत्र अज् विधीयते तत्र अचः इति षष्ठ्यन्तं पदम् उपतिष्ठते. अचः स्थाने भवति ह्रस्वः वा दीर्घो वा प्लुतो वा. उदाहरणं शमामष्टानां दीर्घश्यनि इत्यनेन श्यन् प्रत्यये परे शमादीनां धातूनां दीर्घः विधीयते. कुत्र भवेत् दीर्घः इति प्रश्नः. गतकक्षायाम् अधीतम्. आदेशानां स्थलनिर्धारणम्. आदेशः क्व भवेत्? अलोन्त्यस्य ङिच्च आदेः परस्य अनेकार्चित् सर्वस्य. आदेशः अन्त्यस्य अलः आदेशः भवति. यदि ङित् आदेशः तर्हि अन्त्यस्य भवति. यदि अनेकाल् अथवा षित् भवति तर्हि सर्वस्य आदेशो भवति. यदि परस्य आदेशः तर्हि तस्य आदेर्भवति इति नियमाः. अत्र तु दीर्घः नाम एकाल् आदेशः. तस्मात् अन्त्यस्य अलोन्त्यस्य इत्यनेन अन्त्यस्य मकारस्य दीर्घः प्राप्नोति. किन्तु प्राप्ते अचश्च इति परिभाषया शमधातोः यः अच् स्वरः तस्यैव दीर्घः भवति. अर्थात् अकारस्य दीर्घे शाम्यति इति रूपं सिद्ध्यति. So this is wherever we say ह्रस्व दीर्घ or pluta is mandated without mentioning specifically the sthana. Then we automatically we have to assume that the dirgha, hrasva or pluta is for the ach and not for any other letter, right? Ukalo hrasva dirgha plutaha, starting with 1 to 27. Achascha tatam uccairudattaha नीचैरनुदात्तः समाहारस्वरितः. उदात्त अनुदात्त स्वरित इति स्वराणां त्रयः प्रभेदाः. उदात्तस्वरः ताल्वादिषु सभागेषु स्थानेषु ऊर्ध्वभागे निष्पन्नः च उदात्तसंज्ञः स्यात्. That vowel which is produced from the upper part of the mouth parts, kantha, talu, murdha, etc. is called an udatta. नीचैरनुदात्तः. नीचैः ताल्वादिषु सभागेषु स्थानेषु अधोभागे निष्पन्नः च अनुदात्तसंज्ञः स्यात् समाहारः स्वरितः उभयोः उदात्तत्व अनुदात्तत्वयोः समाहारः मिश्रणं स्वरितसंज्ञं भवति अर्थात् उदात्तत्व अनुदात्तत्वे वर्णधर्मौ समाह्रियेते यस्मिन् सः च स्वरितसंज्ञः स्यात् यस्मिन् स्वरे उभयोः धर्मयोः मेलनं भवति that swara which has a mixture of both udattattva and anudattattva is called swarita. When you say this, automatically the doubt arises which part is udatta, which part is anudatta. तस्य आदित उदात्तम अर्थह्रस्वम् इति परिभाषा स्वरितः तस्य नाम स्वरितस्य आदौ आदितः अर्धम् अर्थह्रस्वम् उदात्तम् स्वरितस्य आदौ अर्धम् उदात्तम् बोध्यम् उत्तरार्धम् तु परिशेषाद् अनुदात्तम्. They said it's a swarita is a mixture of udatta and anudatta. The mixture is first half happens to be udatta and the second half happens to be anudatta. So स्वराणां प्रभेदाः आदौ ऊकालो ह्रस्वदीर्घप्लुतः इति ह्रस्वः दीर्घः प्लुतः ततः ह्रस्वः दीर्घः प्लुतः उच्चैरुदात्तः नीचैरनुदात्तः समाहारस्वरितः. Each of these will get udatta, anudatta and swarita. That is hrasva, dirgha and pluta. So the anudatta has to be there has to be a mark below the swara. Udatta has no mark, anudatta has a mark below the swara and swarita has a mark above. Tataha mukhanasika vachanonunasikah purva pade eva adhitam yes mukhasahita nasikaya uchcharyamanaha varnaha anunasika samyah syat. Each of these in turn is divided into 2. 3 into 3 into 2. Ahatya ashtadasha prabhedaha svaranam. Akarasya, ikarasya, ukarasya, rakarasya सर्वेषाम् अष्टादश भेदाः सम्भवन्ति. ह्रस्वदीर्घप्लुत उदात्तानुदात्तस्वरित अनुनासिक अनुनासिकत्व भेदात्. लृवर्णस्य तु 12 एव भेदाः. लृवर्णा has only 12 types because तस्य दीर्घाभावात्. लृवर्णस्य दीर्घः नास्ति. It does not have the दीर्घ variety. So we remove the 6, that is 1, 3, 2. Remove the one set of 6, we are left with 12. Similarly, echamapi dvadasha tesham hrasva bhavat. A, O, I, O do not have a hrasva variety. So again we have dirgha and pluta which makes 12. Right? So that all those sutras are together in the second pada of the Ashtadhyayi. And that is all we have studied. In the second pada we have not studied anything else. There are a few samnya sutras which appear again in the last pada of the first chapter. Prathamadhyayasya chaturtha pade hrasvam laghu samya sutram laghu iti samnya hrasvam samye hrasvam laghu samyam syat. Ato halader laghoh iti sutram asti. Laghoh akarasya vruddhi syat. If a laghu akara is laghu, it gets vruddhi. So here the laghu samya has been used by Panini. Sanyoge guru hrasvam संयोगे गुरु ह्रस्वं लघु संज्ञं भवति किन्तु संयोगे परे ह्रस्वमपि गुरु संज्ञं भवति संयोगे परे ह्रस्वं गुरु संज्ञं स्यात् उदाहरणं गुरोरनुतोऽनन्त्यस्याप्येकैकस्य प्राचा. What sutra is this? Does anybody remember? गुरोरनुतोऽनन्त्यस्याप्येकैकस्य प्राचा. What is the sutra used for? किं विधीयते अनेन सूत्रेण? Nobody? What was the sutra used for? Which prakarana at least did we find this sutra? We've done only 5 prakaranas, right? Samya, Paribhasha, Achsanthi, Prakriti Bhava and Halsanthi. So, okay. Sunila?
प्रकृति भाव
रैट् प्रकृतिभावप्रकरणे आसीत् प्लुतविधायकं सूत्रमिदं वस्तुतः दिस् इस् अ सूत्र which gives प्लुत गुरोरनृतो अनन्त्यस्य प्येकैकस्य प्राचाम्. If a pluta is anantyasya is in the middle of a word or a vakya, it gets if it is a guru varna, then it gets pluta. In Devadatta, you have Devadatta or Devadatta or Devadatta. So there the guru, the pluta for the de and the datta, the is because of this. Guroho anritaha, rudbhinnasya anantyasyapi guroho विकल्पेन प्लुतसंज्ञा भवति इति सूत्रार्थः. तस्मिन् सूत्रे गुरुसंज्ञायाः उपयोगः कृतः. दीर्घञ्च गुरुसंज्ञं स्यात्. दीर्घस्वरस्यापि गुरुः इति संज्ञा भवति. ह्रस्वं लघु संयोगे गुरु दीर्घञ्च. And the next sutra is suptingantam padam. Pada is a samnya. Subantam, tingantam cha padasamyam syat. Both subantas and tingantas are called pada. Therefore, Sanskrit does not have any padas other than subantas and tingantas. If it is a pada, it has to be either subanta or tinganta. Padasya padat bahuni sutrani sante yatra padam iti padam upayujyate. He's used a term pada in a lot of sutras. Padasya is an adhikara, padat is an adhikara. There are many. Right? And the next asminneva pade nipata samya, nipatadhikaraha vartate. Pragrishwaran nipataha iti samyadhikaraha. Nipataha iti samya किन्तु अधिकारः बहुभिः सूत्रैः निपात इति संज्ञा विधीयते. अधिरीश्वरे इति 1456 तः 97तमसूत्रपर्यन्तं till 1497 we have the nipatadhikara. Almost 40 sutras which tell nipatas. अधिरीश्वरे इत्यतः प्राक् निपाताः इत्यधिक्रियते. निपात संज्ञायाः उपयोगस्तु स्वरादि निपातम् अव्ययम्. सर्वे निपाताः अव्ययम् इति संज्ञां प्राप्नुवन्ति. All nipatas are avyayas. निपात एकाजनान्. We already studied this. प्रगृह्य संज्ञा प्रकरणे एकाज निपातः प्रगृह्य संज्ञः भवति. इ इन्द्रः उ उमेशः इत्यादि रीत्या. इति निपाताधिकारः. तत्र प्रथमं सूत्रमस्ति चादयो सते. चादयः असत्वे. चादिः इति कश्चन गणः. चादिगणे पठिताः शब्दाः अद्रव्यवाचिनश्चेत् निपातसंज्ञाः भवन्ति. When the words which are being enumerated in the chadigana will get the samya nipata as long as they do not represent a dravya or matter. Dravya is matter in a general terms. So if they do not represent that, they will get the samya called nipata. Chadayos satve pradayah. Adravyavasinah pradayah nipata samyah syuh. There is also a second gana called the pradis. So whatever shabdas are included in the pradigana will also get the samya nipata. Pradayah dvavimshatih pra para apasam anu ava nisnir dusdur vi ang ni adhi api ati su ut abhiprati pari upa. Ete pradayah. Chadiganepi, similarly the chadigana has also been enumerated, but I didn't put it here. You already have it, you have seen it. So ete pradayah, and these are more commonly known to us as upasargas. तयेव उपसर्गसंज्ञापि अत्रैव विधीयते. प्रादयः क्रियायोगे उपसर्गाः. प्रादयः क्रियायोगे उपसर्गसंज्ञाः स्युः. यदा क्रियया सह योगो भवति, प्र इत्यस्ति, प्र स्थाधातुना सह योगे प्रतिष्ठते इत्यत्र प्र इति उपसर्गः. परा पराजयते इत्यत्र परा इति उपसर्गः. क्रियायोगः यदा भवति तदैव प्रादीनाम् उपसर्ग इति संज्ञा भवति. So they are called upasargas when they are associated with the kriya. They need not always be associated with the kriya. That is the implication when saying they are called upasargas when they are associated with kriya. Otherwise they are just nipataha. Pradayah nipata samnyaha. But if associated in association with an action, they will be called upasargas also. And they are also called gati. So the same set of 22 particles has been given 3 different samyas. They're called upasargas, they're called gati, they're also called nipata. Why? Because Panini specifies different karyas for each of these samya. That is, say, in nipata, as I said in the previous thing, swaradi nipatam avyayam. The nipatas become avyayas, or nipata ekajanan, pragrahya samya. There are many cases where he uses the samya nipata, right? And there are different cases where he uses the samya upasarga. The upasarga nimittani karyani bhinnani, nipata samya nimittani karyani bhinnani, gati samya nimittakani karyani bhinnani. Their karyas are all different. That is why the same thing has been grouped in, named in 3 different kinds, right? Upasarga drati dhatau. Avarnantad upasarga drakaradau dhatau pare vruddhi vidhayakam sutram. Tatra upasarga samya upayukta. ततः गतिश्च प्रादयः क्रियायोगे गतिसंज्ञाः स्युः. कुगति प्रादयः इति गतिसमासः विधीयते. ततः गतिश्च इत्यनेन स्वरः विधीयते. There are different sutras which use the samya gati also. And finally, towards the end of the first chapter, we have a few more samyas. Parasannikarsha samhita. Samhita iti samya. Samhita namaka paraha sannikarshaha. Varnanam atishayitaha sannidhihi samhita samyah syat. Extreme closeness of letters during pronunciation is called samhita. Samhitayam ityadhikarah eva asti. Samhitaadhikare eva sarve sandhayah uktaha paninina. Tadaha viramavasanam. वर्णानाम् अभावः अवसानसंज्ञः स्यात्. विरामः नाम अग्रे वर्णाः न सन्ति चेत् तदेव अवसानम् इति कथ्यते. खरवसानयोः विसर्जनीयः. खरि अवसाने च रेफस्य विसर्जनीयः आदेशः भवति इत्यर्थः. Yeah. There's a question which says there are 3 samyas, but yet there is a sutra. Actually, the fourth pada of the Ashtadhyayi begins with a sutra called Akadara Deka Samya. That is still Kadara Karmadharaye in the second Adhyaya. Each particle will get a single samya. But the sutra is actually pretty complicated because there are particles which do get more than one samya even within this adhikara, right? So I think that is a topic for a different discussion altogether, because even in Tatpurusha we have Tatpurushaha and Dviguscha. The same thing is also gets the samya Dvigu. It is also called Tatpurusha, it is also called Dvigu. They say the chakaraha samyadvaya samuchayarthaha. The chakara is used to ensure that it combines 2 different samyas. Similarly here you have Gatishcha. The chakara is to ensure that it gets upasarga samya and also gati samya, and the nipata samya is by adhikara. So Akadara Deka samya does apply in in most cases, but there are exceptions to it, where Panini himself has ensured that it will get more than one samya because of some purpose. Any other questions? Hiranalji?
That cha adaya nipata, then what if in nipata there is no sandhi, then how that cha and adaya, that sandhi is there?
Which one? Cha and?
Adaya, cha and adaya, chadaya. Because if it is adravya, it is nipata, and if it is nipata,
correct,
there wouldn't be any sandhi. So why there is a sandhi of cha and adaya?
No, the rule does not say that the nipatas will not get sandhis. It says ekoj nipata. there is a pragrihya samya which is given to nipata, which consists of a single ach, like e or u. If the nipata itself is only one ach, then only it gets a pragrihya samya, and then there is prakriti bhava. But here you have cha, which is the chakara and akara. It is not eko nipataha. Therefore, it does not get pragrihya samya. It becomes an avyaya by swaradi nipatam avyayam, but there is no prakriti bhava. That is why you still have sati.
Thank you.
I just want to have some example of a gati, the nipat in gati. What does the gati mean here?
An example of gati is where you have, say, pragataha acharyaha pracharyaha, where you have pra with the acharya, where pragata and the acharya. That is an example of a gati samya. It's just a name. There is no as a meaning for gati as such, but there are particles which are called gati other than those which are upasargas. For example, after he says upasarga kriya yoge gatischa, he says uryadi chvidachascha anukaranancha nitiparam, etc. So all those are clubbed under a samya called gati, and they all get a samasa by kugati pradayaha or get a particular swara by gatischa. That is why he has a separate samya as upasarga and gati. Both of them are with kriya yoga, correct? But there are some karyas which are dependent on the gati samya and some which are dependent on the upasarga samya.
Yeah.
Was that not clear?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Dhanyavad.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. With this, we have finished the first, sutras, which whatever we have studied in the first chapter. Ashtadhyayaha prathama pade yani sutrani adhitani tesham sarvesham punaravartanam kritam. Ashtadhyayaha dvitiya pade समर्थः पदविधिः समासाः आरभ्यन्ते समासाः ततः विभक्तयः तृतीय चतुर्थ पंचमाध्यायेषु प्रत्ययाः विहिताः. The third, fourth and fifth, the entire 3 chapters are devoted to pratyayas. It is where we have pratyaya vidhana. So we have not studied any pratyayas so far. We have not studied samasas, so we can neatly skip the next 4 chapters, 5 chapters. 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 4 chapters, and then we enter the 6th chapter. षष्ठाध्याये प्रथमपादे संहितायाम् इत्यधिकारः आरभ्यते. ततः आरभ्य सन्धयः सन्ति. Since we have studied only sandhis, the sandhis, all sandhis are told under the adhikara called samhita. Samhitayam ityadhikare. Samhitadhikarah Tugagama prakarane madhyad arabhyate. It's adhikara which starts in the middle of the Tugagama prakarana. Hrasvasya piti kriti tuk ityanena Tugagamaha arabhyate. He starts Tugagama with this sutra, which is the 71st sutra of the first part of the 6th chapter. Hrasvasya piti kriti tuk. Hrasvasvarasya Tugagamaha bhavati. Piti kriti. Yaha kridante pare. Krit pratyaye pare. Yaha krit pittapi bhavati. Tadrishe krit pratyaye pare. ह्रस्वस्य तुगागमः भवति इति सूत्रार्थः. कृ इति ह्रस्वस्य य क्यप् प्रत्यये परे कृत्यम् इति रूपं भवति. एवं भृ धातोः भृत्यः इति भवति. एतानि उदाहरणानि. ह्रस्वस्य पिति कृति तुक् इत्युक्त्वा ततः संहितायाम् इत्यधिकारः आरभ्यते. 72nd sutra samhita. Whatever follows occurs in when there is samhita. Anudattam padam ekavarjam. अस्य पादस्य अष्टपञ्चाशदुत्तरे एकशततम सूत्रपर्यन्तं संहिताधिकारः. So it's an adhikara for almost 80 sutras. छे च तुक इति अनुवर्तते. तुगागम प्रकरणमेव अनुवर्तते. संहितायां सत्यां ह्रस्वस्य छे परे तुगागमः भवति. ह्रस्वस्य ह्रस्वस्वरस्य छे छकारे परे तुगागमः स्यात् संहितायां. तुक् इति आगमः. कुत्र भवति आगमः? आद्यन्तौ टकितौ इत्युक्तत्वात् अन्ते भवति. ह्रस्वस्य अन्ते तुक् इति आगमः भवति. स्वछाया इत्यस्ति. स्व इति ह्रस्वस्य अन्ते स्वत् छाया. इति तुगागमः ततः जष्ट्वे श्चुत्वे चत्वे स्वच्छाया is the final rupa, but the thing which is happening from this sutra, vidhi sutramidam, anena sutrena hrasvasya chakare pare tugagamah vidhiyate. hrasvasya piti kriti tuk checha ang mangoscha ang tatha mang ityetayoh ang ityupasargasya mang iti nipatasya cha छे परे तुगागमः भवति एतयोः छे परे तुक् स्यात् आ छिदत् इति स्थिते आत् छिदत् आच्छिदत् मा छिदत् माच्छिदत् इति उभयत्र तुगागमः ओके दीर्घात् इत्यनेन पुनः तुगागमः दीर्घात् छे परे तुक् स्यात् दीर्घस्वरादपि चकारे परे तुगागमः भवति चे छिद्यते इति स्थिते तुगागमे कृते चेत् छिद्यते चेत् छिद्यते right so you have a dirgha followed by chakara it gets tugagama my question here dirghat when we have here ang mangosha you have a plus chidatu or ma plus chidatu dirghat ityeva tugagamah prapnoti kimartham ang mangosha iti sutram. Why do we need this sutra? We have dirghat, both of these are dirghats. So from the next sutra, by dirghat we do get tugagama. Why does he say a separate sutra? Why did Panini create this sutra ang mangoscha? Okay. He says siddhe satyarabhyamano vidhi niyamaya bhavati. Kidrishah niyamah. What is the niyama here? There is a rule that if it is already siddha by another sutra, if he is still saying it again, it means there is some niyama. Is a rule which we'll see immediately right next to it. But is there a niyama in this? If yes, what is the niyama? If not, why the sutra?
Samyaji, if the Tugagama comes to a Dirgha, then it only has to be for Ang and Mang.
Then what would be the point of Dirghat? What would be an example for Dirghat?
Aukara, for example, followed by Che.
Will not get.
That wouldn't get a Tugagama.
But then how will this get? Che chidyate. You have a che here, which is not either ang or mang.
Right.
So we wouldn't get here only.
Yes, that's true.
Anybody? No? Okay.
Is he excluding Pluta?
Which one? Pluta does not get Tugagama.
Okay.
Right, but
could that be the purpose of this sutra?
But Ang and Mang are not Plutas also. Right, they are still Dirghas. So Hema says, I didn't understand. Baliyan. What is it? I'm sorry. No, it's nothing as in. Let me tell you if you know the. We'll see the next sutra and come back. Dirghat padantadva. Dirghat padantat छे परे तुगागमः विकल्पेन भवति इति सूत्रार्थः. लक्ष्मी छाया इत्यस्य लक्ष्म्याः छाया इति समासः. अत्र दीर्घः अस्ति किन्तु पदान्ते अपि अस्ति. यत्र दीर्घः पदान्ते भवति तत्र विकल्पेन तुगागमः भवति इति सूत्रार्थः. तुगागमे सति लक्ष्मी छाया इति रूपं तदभावे लक्ष्मी छाया इति. Okay, so do we have an answer now?
Yeah, I think he wants to make it mandatory for ang and mang because padantatva is va, so he doesn't want it to be an optional, if I remember right.
Correct. Or, so yeah. So padantadva. Actually, by dirghadityanena nityam tugagame prapte padantadva ityanena vikalpyate. विकल्पे प्राप्ते आंग मांग इत्युभयत्र पदान्ताद्वा इत्यनेन विकल्पेन प्राप्ते नित्यमेव तुगागमः स्यात्. Means to say that ang and mang, even if they are padantas, they have to be there has to be nitya tugagama and not vikalpa. That is why he had to make a separate sutra as ang mang muscha. How are ang and mang padas? Is my next question. A iti padam va, ma iti padam va. Katham padatvam tesham. If there is padasamya for these, then we can say padantadva ityanena vikalpe prapte nityam tugagamah syat iti sutram. But how are the padas? This is an upasarga and this is an avyaya. Pada says suptingantam padam. Is this subanta or tinganta?
Isn't it bhutla, one of those tingantam? Like there is I think there's a couplet given when it should be mang, and there's a difference between ma and mang. Even though they look similar when we write, I think there is some, I forgot the rule. It says that this is mang, this is not mang, and something like that.
Correct. There's a difference between ang and a, mang and ma, etc. But still, is it subanta or tinganta? I mean, to me, this seems to be none, neither.
I think avyayas all get, they're all subantas.
Right.
Avyayas or something like that.
Ha, right. So, sarvani avyayanyapi padani. There is a general, I mean, in normal Sanskrit, we tend to divide it into subanta, tinganta, and avyaya, which is a misconception. Avyayas are also subantas. I mean, they are subantas because we require them to be a pada. So, all avyayas get supratyaya, and then the supratyaya is deleted by avyayadap supaha. So, ang is pradi, which is a nipata, and svaradi nipatam avyayam. Ityanena avyayatvam asti. Avyayat subutpattihi lopascha. Therefore, both a and ma, even though they are avyayas, are also subantas. Since it's subanta, suptingantam padam ityanena padasamya. Padante vikalpena tugagame prapte nityam vidhanartham idam sutram. Right? So this is Stukam Prakarana, starting with Samhitayam Checha Angmangoscha Dirghat Padantadva. It is Sutrani. Next, we start with the actual, I mean, there are also Sandhis, but the Sandhis which we studied, starting with Yan. Iko Yanachi. Iti Asmineva Pade Sapta Saptatitamam Sutram. So this is, I don't think this requires any more explanation as it keeps cropping up everywhere. Ikah sthane yan syat achi samhitayam. Ityarthaha. Sudhi upasyaha sudhyupasyaha madhvarihi dhatramshaha lakratihi. I u r r ik. Tesham yan yu v r l r ityete yu v r l ityete adeshaha bhavanti achi pare. It is sutrarthaha. Yan sandhi is actually very, very simple because there is no other sutra which gives yan sandhi between padas. Let me say. I mean, there are a couple of other sutras which we'll see later. For now, for yan sandhi, for now, this is the only sutra. There is no vartika, there is no apavada, there is no other sutra at all. Iko and achi. If ik is followed by ach, it gets yanadesha. Simple. Ditiya sandhi bhavati yantavantadesha sandhi. The second sandhi. Tatra Prathamam Sutram Echo Yava Yavaha Iti Vidhi Echaha Achi Iko and Achi Tyataha Achi iti Vartate Achi Pare Kramat Ayu Avu Ayu Avu Ityete Adeshaha Bhavanti. So the H will be replaced by these respectively. A O I O will be replaced by Ayu Avu Ayu Avu. Hare E Haraye Vishnu E Vishnave Nayakaha Pavakaha. So it is not that the sandhi occurs only within a pada. There are other examples, but they are not commonly given as an example of echoyavayavaha because of what? Why wouldn't Dikshitar give say te agachanti becomes tayagachanti echoyavayavaha ityanena yantavantadeshah bhavati kintu tadrisham udaharanam na diyate. Nobody ever gives such examples as an example for lopashakalyasya. I mean,
I think you said the answer, I think.
yeah, I meant to say for echoyavayavaha. Because there is a sutra lopashakalyasya in the Tripadi. Whenever there is an H at the end of a pada and we get ayadesha or avadesha, the ya or va gets deleted by lopashakalyasya. Te agachanti becomes tayagachanti. Yakarasya lope ta agachanti. Ta eva. Te eva becomes ta eva because ta eva, the yakara gets lopa. So because of lopashakalyasya, there is an optional deletion of yakara and vakara. That is why the examples tend to be those which occur within a pada, so that there is no option, there is no avakasha for lopashakalyasya. Right? So echoyavayavaha iti yantavantadesha vidhanasya autsargikam sutram. But we also have many other sutras here. Vanto yi pratyaye. Yi pratyaye. Yakaradau pratyaye pare. Vantaha adeshaha. Arthatu odau tohu. Okara okarayoho. Avu avu. Ityetau adeshau bhavataha. Go ya. Yat iti pratyayaha. Go shabdatu yat pratyaye pare. Gavya. Evameva nau shabdatu yat pratyaye. Navyam. Gavyam navyam. Iti udaharanani. So from the earlier sutra, achipare, when it's followed by a swara, you get yantavanta desha. In this, when it is followed by a yakaradi pratyaya, then we get vanta desha. Tatah vartikam asti, goryutau chandasi upasankhyanam. Gohu yuto, go iti shabdatu yuti shabde pare, avadeshaha bhavati. Chandasi, vede eva. Go yutihi, gavyutihi. Avadeshe gavyutihi iti rupam. Ladha parimane cha lokepi gavyuti shabdasya prayogaha asti marga parimana visheshe gamye. When it indicates a distance, length or a measure of distance, then also we have the word gavyuti. That is, when go is followed by yuti, then we get avadesha. Gavyutihi ityeva udaharanam. Both vartikas have a single example, which is gavyuti. The first is only in the Vedas and the second is also in classical Sanskrit. Then dhatos tannimittasyaiva iti niyama sutram. As Ravi said just now, siddhe sati arabhyamano vidhihi niyamaya bhavati. A niyama sutra is one which limits the range of something which is already there. I mean, okay. From a different sutra, when you already have the karya, if you need some example for this, say you need lavyam, lo plus yat lavyam, right? Lo yat iti sthite, vanto yi pratyaye, yakaradau pratyaye pare, okarasya avadesho bhavati, ityanena eva vakaradeshaha siddhyati, lavyam iti rupam siddhyati. Idam sutram kimartham iti prashnaha. Hope you got the question. The example for dhatos tannimittasyaiva is lavyam and avashya lavyam. That you have lo and yat, you need the rupa lavyam, and lav plus yat, we need the rupa lavyam. But both these can be derived from a previous sutra, which is vanto yi pratyaye. When followed by a yakaradi pratyaya, there is avadesha or avadesha. So lavyam and avashya lavyam is derived from the previous sutra. So why do we need this sutra? It's a question. So this sutra is a niyama. It limits. It says, if a dhatu, dhatoho, yadi dhatoho yakaradau pratyaye pare avadeshaha avadesho va bhavati, tarhi tannimittasyaiva. Tannimittaha nama atra pratyaya nimittaha. So a dhatu will get avadesha or avadesha only if the okara or aukara of the dhatu has been derived from the pratyaya, using the pratyaya as a nimitta. Right? For example, the yadau pratyaye pare dhatoh ched vantadeshaha tarhi tannimittasyaiva pratyaya nimittasyaiva. You have lo and ya. The dhatu here originally is lu. Lu ya iti sthite. Pratyayam nimittikritya sarvadhatuka arthadhatakayoho iti gunaha. There is guna for lu. When the pratyaya, when followed by a sarvadhatuka or ardhadhatuka pratyaya. So using pratyaya as the nimitta, you derive okara. In avashyalavya, you have again niyat pratyaya, where the achoiniti iti sutrena iti niti pratyaye pare dhatoh vruddhihi bhavati. So again here also the dhatu is lu, and we derive the aukara by vruddhi, for which pratyaya is the nimitta. Here okara is derived from guna, for which pratyaya is the nimitta, and aukara is derived from vruddhi, for which pratyaya is the nimitta. So where pratyaya is the nimitta for okara or aukara, then only we have avadesha and avadesha. What else? What happens otherwise? For example, you have a plus uyate. Ve dhatuh a iti upasargaha. You have a and u, where you get adgunaha and you get oyate. For adgunaha, pratyaya is not the nimitta. Whether there is a pratyaya ahead or anything else, wherever you have a and u, you will get o. Right? So pratyaya is not the nimitta. Tan nimitta. This is not tan nimitta. Therefore, this does not become avyate. It becomes oyate. It stays as oyate. Similarly, when you have in lang lakara a plus u yata, here atascha iti vruddhihi bhavati. Vruddhau krite avyata iti bhavati. Atrapi au iti, here the au is derived from vruddhi. The vruddhi does not depend on the pratyaya. It depends only on akara and ukara. Right? So where there is no tannimitta, there you should not get avadesha and avadesha. In the absence of this sutra, it is true that we can derive lavya and avashyalavya. But here also in oyate and avyata also, we will get, we should have done avadesha and avadesha. To prevent that, there is a niyama. Siddhe sati purva sutrenaiva vanto iprityetyanenaiva lavyam avashyalavyam iti siddhe arabhyamanaha vidhihi dhatostannimittasyaiva iti vidhihi niyamaya bhavati. Kaha niyamaha? Yadau pratyaya pare dhatoh vantadeshah bhavati chet tannimittasaiva bhavati. Hope that is clear. So yantavantadeshasaiva agrimam sutram asti kshayya jayyau shakyarthe. Vidhihi nipatanam. Nipatanam siddha prakriyasya adeshah nipatanam, where Panini does not give a prakriya. So what is he doing in iko and achi and echoyavayavaha? He says ikaha achipare yan bhavati. He does not say suddhipasyaha iti rupam bhavati. He just says ikaha achipare yan bhavati. He mandates a karya. But there are some cases where he directly gives a ready-made form, which is a nipatana. For example, here he says kshaya and jaya. There are two words which are ready to use, and that is called a nipatana. Kshayam jayam shakyarthe. Kshetum shakyam kshayam jetum shakyam jayam iti rupam. Evameva krayastadarte. Kri dhatoh yat pratyaya kreya iti sthite yantadeshah nipatyate. Krayam iti rupam bhavati. Tara bhavati krayataraha kriniyoh iti buddhya apane prasaritam krayam. Anything that is for sale is kraya. In all these kshaya, jaya, kraya, you have another form which is ksheya, jeya and kreya, but the meaning differs. Ksheyam is kshetum yogyam. That which has to be reduced is ksheya. That which has to be conquered is jeya. Kreya is kretum yogyam. That which you would like to buy is kreya. If it is not for sale. If it is for sale, it becomes kraya. So trayanam shabdanam yantadeshah nipatyate. So 80, 81, 82. The next sutra which we have not studied in the Kaumudi because bhaya pravayyecha chandasi. It is also a yantadesha nipatana. He bhi dhatohu bhayyam iti vi dhatohu pravayya iti rupam nipatyate paninina kintu chandasi vede eva. So these rupas are only in the Vedas. That is why Dikshitam has not included it in this sequence, though it does belong to the same prakarana. Can you identify some sandhi in this sutra? Bhaya pravayyecha chandasi. What is the sandhi and which is the sutra? कः सन्धिः वर्तते भय्यप्रवय्ये च छन्दसि. I mean the sandhi which we studied just now. That is why I am asking. Hema?
In Bhaya, it's the Dvitvam, right? Because a yer letter following.
Oh, no. Bhaya is the yanta desha. There is bhe and a. And that is what is the karya from the sutra. There is bheya. It should have been bheyam. But he does yanta desha and gives the form as bhaya and pravaya. So, there is some other sandhi which we studied just now. Just a few minutes ago.
Is it checha?
Right. Tugagamaha. Checha ityanena tugagamaha. Hrasvasya chakare pare nityam tugagamaha. So there is nitya tugagama if it is a hrasva. So vayya pravayye cha chandasi. It is the cha and chandasi means there is no samhita. Yadi samhita asti tarhi tugagamaha nityaha. The tugagama has to be compulsory here. Vayya pravayye cha chandasi. So this is about yantavanta desha. Kati sutrani. Oh, there are quite a lot. Echo yavayavaha, vanto yi pratyaye, goryutau chandasipa sankhyanam, adhva parimanecha, dhatos nimittasya, kshayajayyo shakyarthe, kriyastadarte, bhayapravayyecha chandasi. There are 8 sutras, 8 shastras, 6 sutras and 2 artikas, all of which deal with yantavanta desha sandhi. Right? After this, he starts the ekadesha. Ekah purva parayohu ityadhikaraha. Whatever was there till now was an adesha just for the purva. That is ikaha sthane yen bhavati. Achi pare. Achaha kopi vikaraha nasti. The ach was not modified. Echaha yavayavaha. Echaha achi pare. Here also the ach was not modified. Only the h was replaced by ayavayavaha. Right? Itah param tu ekah purva parayohu. इत्यधिकारः आरभ्यते. इतः आरभ्य पूर्वपरयोः एकादेशः भवति. ऋत उत एकादशाधिक एकशतमसूत्रपर्यन्तम् एकः पूर्वपरयोः इत्यधिकारः. अन्तादिवच्च इति अतिदेशः. एकः पूर्वपरयोः स्थाने यः एकः आदेशः क्रियते सः अन्तादिवत् भवति. अन्तवद् भवति, आदिवच्च भवति. योयम एकादेशः सह पूर्वस्य antavат parasya adivat syat. You can either consider it as the anta of the purva or as the adi of the para, right, as the prasanga requires. Say if you do rama ishaha rameshaha, you can either say rame and shaha or ram and eshaha. There is no karya here. This is just an example, but there are karyas where you assume like this, that is, you assume that the ekadesha belongs to the previous and do a karya for the para, or that it belongs to the para and do some karya for the purva. Right? So it just means you can either treat it as the ending of the purva or as the beginning of para. It is neither. That is why this is an atidesha. Saha adirapi nasti antopi nasti. The ekara is actually neither the ending of rama nor the beginning of ishaha, but still it behaves like the ending of rama and the beginning of ishaha. That is why this is an atidesha. Anya dharmaropaha atideshaha. We are imposing the properties of akara and ikara into the ekadesha. Right? Antadivaccha. Ekah purvaparayoho antadivaccha. We also studied antadivaccha in uparchati and prarchati. Then shattatu kora siddhaha. This is again an atidesha which we have not studied. We just, there is no harm in learning it. Ayam ekadeshaha shattatukoho asiddhaha. Shatve kartavye tukicha kartavye ekadesha shastram asiddham syat. Means once you do some ekadesha, you cannot use it to either do tuk or tugagama or for shatva. That's what it says. So ekadeshaha ekah purvaparayoho ityarabhyate. Tatra prathamam sutram asti adgunaha. 87. Vidhi sutram. Kaha arthaha? Avarnat achipare purvaparayoho ekaha gunaha adeshaha bhavati. So this is an utsarga sutra, a very general sutra. When akara is followed by any ach, it says there is guna. So it has many exceptions. which we'll see later. So Upa Indraha, Upendraha, Rameshaha, Gangodakam, Krishnardhihi, Krishna Ruddhihi, Akara Rikarayohu sthane, Ekadeshatvena gune, Gunaha namakaha, Aden gunaha, Akara Ekara Okaraha. Katham nirnayaha, Upa Indraha, Akara Ikarayohu sthane gunaha, sthane Antaratamaha, Antaratamyam, Akarasya sthanam kantaha, Ikarasya sthanam talu, Kantatala-sthanakaha, Ekaraha Adeshaha bhavati. Akaraha Ukaraschet, Kanthoshtha-sthana-samyat, Okaraha bhavati. Akaraha Rikaraschet, A, E, O, ityatra Akara eva Kanthasthana-samyam sarvesham asti. Uran raparaha ityanena repaparatvam bhavati akarasya. Ar iti sthite Kanthaha murdha. Antaratamyat Akara Rikarayoh gunaha ar. Krishnardhihi. Urandraparaha ityatra uhu nama rikarasya rilvarnayor mithas savarnyam vacham ityanena rikarasya sthane bhavati taval rikaraha tavalkaraha. So actually like yan, guna is also defined by a single sutra, ad gunaha. There is no other sutra which tells guna as a sandhi. There you get guna in a lot of places, but guna sandhi means only one sutra, no vartikas, no additional sutras, nothing. Right? And the next sandhi, so we covered 3 sandhis, yan, yantavanta adeshaha, gunaha. That is the order of Panini, and that is also the order of Dikshitar. So he has not changed the order much. Right? So yan yantavanta adeshaha, tataha ekadeshaha arabhyante, tatra adau gunaha. The next is vriddhi, which I think we'll see in the next class. We'll start with the vriddhi and complete all sandhis next class. Any doubts?
Somaji, I just had a question regarding the previous class. If it's okay, can I ask now?
Oh, sure.
So we did the Visarjaniya Saha and then we did Kupvo Kapocha, right? And then you said that Kupvo Kapocha is an apavada for Visarjaniya Saha.
Correct.
But I just read somewhere that in the S.C. Vasu's book, he says that anyway it is a later sutra, so anyway it's asiddha towards Kupvo Kapocha, is asiddha towards Visarjaniya Saha. So you can still get it by applying both Visarjaniya Saha, then I can still apply Kupvo Kapocha, still I'm going to get the same result. No, you cannot.
No, you cannot. How? Visarjaniyasya saha is not a siddha for Kupvo Kapocha. Visarjaniyasya saha is earlier. Kupvo Kapocha is later.
Right.
Kupvo Kapocha is a siddha. So after applying Visarjaniyasya saha, how would you apply Kupvo Kapocha?
No, Kupvo Kapocha is later, right? So I can, in the sequence, so I can apply 34, then I can apply 37.
How will you apply? If you apply 34, after you apply 34, there is no Visarga, right? If you apply, say, Kaha and Khanati, if you apply Visarjaniyasya saha, it becomes Kas Khanati. Then there is no option for applying Kupvo Kapocha, no? Because there is no Nimitta, there is no Visarga. How will you apply Kupvo Kapocha?
It's an option also. But since if I apply Kupvo Kapocha, then the later one becomes asiddha.
What he must have said, I mean, I haven't read that. What he must have said is once you apply Kupvo Kapocha, you get a Visarga, then can you apply Visarjaniyasya saha? If that is the question, you cannot. Though I think you mentioned Vipratishedha. Vipratishedha means Vipratishedhe param karyam. What could be the question? I'm just guessing because I have not read that pankti. And yeah, I saw your mail, but it wasn't clear. What his question must be is, since it is a Parasutra, you have Visarjaniyasya saha and you have Kupvo Kapocha. One is 34, 37.
Right.
If we apply Vipratishedhe param karyam, naturally we should apply Kupvo Kapocha and not Visarjaniyasya saha, right?
Right, right.
Param Sutram. So you don't need Kupvo Kapocha to be an apavada.
Right.
You will get Kupvo Kapocha is the argument.
Right.
But it will not work because it is Tripadi.
Right.
In Tripadi, since Visarjaniyasya saha does not know Kupvo Kapocha exists, there is no Vipratishedha.
Okay.
Purvatra Siddhe Nasti Vipratishedha. You cannot apply Vipratishedha param karyam in Tripadi at all. Because the Purva Sutra does not know Parasutra exists. So here you cannot apply vipratishetha. It has to be an apavada. Only when it is an apavada, then it will overrule it and appear.
Okay.
If it is not an apavada, since kupoh kapocha is asiddha, visarjaniyasya saha will apply irrespective of what is there ahead.
Okay.
So it has to be an apavada.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
So just read through it again. If you still have a doubt, you can ask. Because,
Okay, I'll do that.
any other questions? Okay. Hiralalji?
Yes, that ara,
Hmm.
there we do not find the similarity, that is Krishna Riddhi. So in all this A and E, there is a samya of that
Yeah, I understood.
Pratna.
You're saying
But here there is
akaraha, there is,
Akara
because
and akara,
when you're doing
there's
akara is
no,
kantha and repha is murtha. The sthana for repha is murtha. You have akara and rikara here. Rikara syapi sthana murtha.
so
So
how
the
they are,
is,
they are
yeah, you do have a
irreconcilable.
Huh? Sorry?
But then they do not have any similarity between sthana and pratna. So that is
Prayatna is not required here. The sthana you do have, no.
they are
Rikara,
different.
the different of what? The sthani is, one is akara and one is rikara. Right? Akarasya sthanam kantha. Akuha visarjaniyanam kantha. Rikarasya sthanam murdha. Rutarashanam murdha. So for the sthani you have two letters which have a combined sthana of kantha and murdha. For the adesha you have three options. One is ar, one is a, and one is o. Ekara is kanthatalu, okara is kanthoštha. In ar you have two letters. Again you have a, which is kantha, repha, which is murdha. Riturashanam murdha. So you have kantha plus murdha, the same combination in the adesha as in the sthani.
So by elimination of that A and O, we have this A and Ra.
No, not elimination. You have antaratamya because a and r have kantha and murdha. Elimination is one tactic which has been told by Bhashya, which is correct. If you have only a, and o, we eliminate ekara, okara, and we are left with akara. But even otherwise,
like
if akara would be a sthani for rikara, it has to be repapara, raparaha. So the adesha becomes ar. If it is ar, it has both kantha and murdha, which is the same sthana as the sthani. Not clear?
Okay, okay. No, I got it. Otherwise, that in Bhashya it is given Dagda Ratha and Nashtashva.
Correct, exactly. So that is one
so
thing,
that,
because there is no antaratamya. Anantarya eva etesham antaryam. That is what the Bhashyakara says. But then he also says that repashiraha gunaha akarasya gunavriddhi ararau. There he says it is ar and r, because it comes together. There are both pakshas are seen in the Bhashya.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Do you have one more minute, Samit, here?
Oh, sure.
I think I got the sutra mixed. It was the Sharpari Pare Visarjaniya. Maybe he says that you can apply both. First you can, if you apply Sharpari, then you will get anywhere the Visarga. Then after that you can apply the Kupo Kapo. It's not a this thing. So then he says you can split the sutras as Kupoho to get the Visarga. Then Kapo Kapo as a this thing. I got the sutra number wrong.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Kupoh kapocha. Probably. But I think even without it, because the chakara is there, they still do that.
Right.
Even without splitting the sutra. Okay.
Thanks.
Any other things? No? येनाक्षरसमां न्यायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते।